A major decision for school students was taken by CBSE last week. The board's draft policy has set a timeline of 2026 for the implementation of twice-yearly exams for class 10. Draft guidelines have been made open to public for feedback. The stakeholders have a time till March 9 to give their inputs on the issue. In Tribune Extra Class today, we'll be discussing the new exam system with some senior teachers from the city. Our guest today, Mrs Parvinder Kaur Grover. She is from Government Model Senior Secondary School, Sector 35, Chandigarh, and Ms Tamanna. She is from St. Joseph, Sector 44, Chandigarh. Welcome to the show, Parvinder and Tamanna. Mrs Grover, you have been in this profession for the past 35 years and you've been teaching senior classes for a number of years now. So, what are the challenges that this decision will throw for schools and for teachers according to you?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me this opportunities to share my views. But in my opinion, as well as in the mindset and perception of almost all teachers and all stakeholders, any policy or any newly introduced rule has its own pros and cons. Of course, this new pattern of having an exam twice a year and in quick succession of one another, it is going to benefit the students, right? But at the same time, it is, going to put a mental pressure on the child to get more and more, to reach because for example, if a child gets a percentage in the 70s, right, the parents will probably push him, her, or the teachers also, that why don't you give another try and you might end up with 80s or even better. So with that perception in mind, are we really not pushing the student towards more and more of percentage, at the same time talking about no stress to the student, no stress to the student?
So, what are the challenges according to you, Tamanna?
Regarding challenges as the policy comes our way, I would like to say that logistics might be a challenging a challenge for the institutions to handle, because not only is the policy coming at a little faster pace than it was supposed to come, but we have come a long way from traditional classrooms to online classrooms, and digitization is all the rage right now. So I feel like although it is coming at a little faster pace, logistics is something that needs to be handled very carefully and very strategically by the institutions. So it's not that it's a challenge that we cannot tackle. Definitely, it has its own pros and cons, as ma'am has rightly said, but it is also a challenge that we can easily take up by asking for the right resources and by strategically planning things in advance, and by maybe revising the academic calendar as such for the students as well as the teachers, which will make it easier for them to go for invigilations, easier for them to handle the correction of the papers, and so on.
And what changes do you expect in the academic calendar?
Definitely, there has to be a number of changes when it comes to the academic calendar. For example, as we set the examination timings, that is the duration of when the examinations will be held. In my opinion, the first, that is the main examination, should be held around February, and the improvement examination could be held around May. So once we get the result from February examinations, the students have ample amount of time to decide whether they would like to retake the exam or not. And it also gives them as well as their teachers to take remedial classes, to indulge in more practice sessions, to identify their weaker sections and to work on it, and so on. Another change could be to minimize the winter break. That would be a very good opportunity for the students to engage in rigorous practice, rigorous preparation for their exams, and that could really benefit the teachers in getting a hold of how their students are doing and whether they are truly ready for the examinations that are going to come their way or not.
Mrs. Grover, is our current academic calendar, does it have some kind of a space for to prepone all the exams and to finish the syllabus in time?
Where academic calendar is concerned, we would generally, earlier also, 10th and 12th boards would start, in February end. I mean, these past 2-3 years, right? Even this year, they have started in February. The new pattern also gives 17th February as the first date of the first examination, right? So, in my view, the academic calendar will go for a toss. Why so? Because earlier, what would happen, once we are through with the final exams till class 9th, in April, with 1st April, we would start with the next session for class 10th. Now, when we are talking about another exam for class 10th, then the teacher involved, right? Say for taking class 9th and 10th, he or she will be put on invigilation duty plus marking duty and will be away from the school. So what will happen in April? The teachers who were supposed to teach class 9th and 10th, they will be away marking because the second exam is in May. The first starts on 17th, ends on 6th April. Marking starts. Teachers will be involved in that, involved outside their own school. The second one says 5th of May, ending on 20th May. Again, April and May are two very important months for, academic classes, sessions before the summer break.
According to you, Tamanna, will this decision actually reduce stress in students?
I feel it will. See, board exams are viewed as a very high stake opportunity for the students. It's something that has been told that it happens only once in a year. Okay, so the entire pressure is put on the students in relation to the fact that the exam is held only once. And in case they want to reappear for it, they have to wait an entire academic year to do the same. And that is a loss that maybe not everybody can afford. And I feel like bringing in, it's not just the policy of, giving them another chance. It's like a second golden opportunity. Because itna jo stress hota hai in pe, the amount of stress that they have, the anxiety that this, only a student can understand that. And if I were given a chance, if I could go back in time and redo one of the exams where I felt nervous, in the sitting in the hall, and if I were given the chance, I would definitely take it up. So I feel like it is not just a second chance, but it at the same time it's also a second choice, not just a chance. And where a student, whether it be a weak student or a bright student who is just looking for improvement in his course, or it could be an economically disadvantaged student who could not attend the exams for the first time. It could be a child with special needs who might need one more attempt after the assessment of what he has already done, he or she has already done. So if we assess all the scenarios that exist, the diversity of students that India has, I think it really works on reducing the stress and anxiety which is related to the examination specifically.
So Tamanna, do you think there are some loopholes in this current system which has been proposed?
There is a possibility of the students taking the first exam lightly. I mean, it would require proper training by the teachers to motivate the students to consider it a good first attempt and the second one being for improvement. So as long as they don't take the first one for granted, the reform works really well.
Right. And Mrs. Grover, do you also see some loopholes in the system?
The loopholes are, yes, of course, a financial burden on the board itself, which ultimately goes down to the parents' pocket. This is one loophole. Another is that, teachers will become extra busy in invigilation and marking. The ultimate impact of this will come on the working of the school, right? And of course, the students will, the new class, because every April there's a shift from 8 to 9, from 9 to 10th, right? And at that point of time, for April and May, the teachers will be very busy in doing invigilation and marking duties. The ultimate impact will come on the students.
In the case of private schools, Tamanna, is the situation a little bit different in terms of the challenges which the students will be facing or the teachers will be facing?
Definitely. I mean, we are also made centers of examinations and we also have teachers going for correction and invigilation as well. But in addition to, what ma'am has said, I would like to say that as stakeholders of the education, it becomes our responsibility to cater to the needs of the students. I feel like the policy is very student-centric. And anything that comes as a challenge in front of that, be it teachers, be it the administration, be it the government, be it the ministry, I think it should come to such a point that we are thinking about the future of our nation and not ourselves. So we should be ready to tackle whatever comes our way. We need to find ways. I feel that there is an urgency to bring in the scheme, the reform, which could be given a little bit of more time so that everybody can adapt. Adaptability is something that we are really good at. It's just that we need a little more time, the students as well as the teachers.
Mrs. Grover, you think that there can be some change in the syllabus, current syllabus, or the way the examination papers are set to make this setup work?
Actually, over the years, we've seen that papers have become very student friendly. Like, if we go back in time, 10, 20, 15 years ago, we did not have these MCQ type questions, right? They were mainly, those theoretical and very essay type answers to that, right? So we've already done so much for the students. We've already made things very, very student friendly. And now the CBSE is going a step further by adding this, 2 exam system. So I think we've had enough now, There is something, I know, from the traditional pattern of teaching, we've come a long way. But shouldn't be, it should be a mix of both traditional and modern. It should be.
So any suggestions you have apart from what is mentioned in the draft policy?
Suggestions is yes, okay. I'm sure, if this opportunity is being given, most of the students are going to avail it. Because even a 90%er will say, I can still get 95. So we are putting a burden on the student, which we should not. Why don't we accept what the student has given in the first take itself?
And Tamanna, you have any suggestions?
Yes, definitely. Firstly, it is very appreciative of the fact that they have asked for our opinion so that they can make necessary recommendations. And if they would actually take up advice from the people who are actually on the field, so that would be really beneficial to the scheme and to how the reform unfolds. And secondly, I feel like we should move towards the digitization of the assessment, because that might save up a lot of time which we are talking about. How the teachers are involved in the correction, if the objective sets are digitized by way of assessment, then it would make a great deal for the reform to actually work.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Grover and Tamanna, for sharing valuable insights with us today. The CBSE's new system is supposed to make this examination system easier and more student friendly. It is well intentioned, but the success of this new system depends on how well implemented it will be. And that only time will tell. This is Geetu Vaid signing off from Tribune's Extra Class. Thank you.